guess what? You're not the only person who wants to build a house who is completely broke. In this video, we are going to show you how you can build your dream house even during these tough economic times, especially when you are also broke and you need to manage multiple projects with your finance, or there are so many things which are calling for your attention, school fees, utility bills, etc. coming up next. Now in this video, we have compiled over 30 minutes of back-to-back tips on how you can build your dream house with time when you don't have money. All the tips are practical. They are things we have done on our personal projects and projects of other people. And so we believe that if you share it with people, many people can be blessed as well. And if you like the video, just give it a thumbs up and comment your own tips in the comments below. The best will be featured on our community channel. Thanks, Bebre. We got a message from one of our followers on Instagram. He says, "Hi, my name is George. I'm building my house at OEB. I'm currently at the electrical and POP stage. I've just started purchasing the electrical wires and bits as per the list from the electrician. I've also taken the measurements with the POP guy and I'm waiting for his estimate also. I am down raising money. I would need your advice on what to do next." I asked him, "Thanks for sharing your project progress. I'm not sure what you mean by you are down. You don't want to make any assumptions." He says, "What I meant is advise me on how I can complete the project. My cash flow is not regular and the cost of items keeps rising. I also need to move from where I live now before the year ends. I need your advice and how to continue with the little income I make." Our good friend George has like 4 key things, right? He has started a building project. We can deduce that he's completed the roofing on the building project. In fact, he came on our TikTok live and made some clarifications. He's building a 1-bedroom story building, right? Now, what he needs to do is to do the wiring and also do POP. He's gotten to a certain level. He's put all his money into the building project and he's broke currently, and I can relate. I have also reached a stage in my building project where I need funds, but the funds are not coming and I need to do some work. And I'm sure most of you can also relate. There have been times where the cash flow wasn't coming as you expected. Now, his third point, which is a bit concerning, is that he needs to move out of where he is living by the end of this year, 2023. When you get to a stage where you have run out of cash, the very first thing I would advise is relax and review the levels of work that need to be done. You need to do the barest minimum. Do you need to tile right now? Do you need to do POP right now? Or you just need your block work, you need to plaster, cement the floor and then move in. Do you need to paint immediately? No. If you don't have the funds, don't kill yourself. Do the barest minimum that you can move in and live in. Many of our parents moved into homes where it wasn't tiled and they didn't have the flashiest of lights and kitchen cabinets and granite kitchen counters and all that. But we were able to live in. The barest minimum could be that they had electricity so that you could iron your clothes and all that. The barest minimum was that maybe they didn't have a borehole that had been drilled, but they had a polytank that they were buying water into. Sometimes you can do the barest minimum so that you can move from the place that you are paying so much rent at and use some of the rent money you'd have paid for the next 2 years to do some of these finishings on your building project. For our good friend George, he has identified that he needs to do the wiring. He's got an estimate from the electrician. He knows the materials he needs to purchase. So when he gets some small money, he'll go and purchase it. He also knows he needs to do POP, but he's saying the POP guy has not given him the estimate of the materials to go and purchase. But he's told him that it's going to cost you, let's say, 20,000 cedis for the POP. But he wants to know the individual cost of the materials. Let's say the POP, cement, and the fiber and every other thing that's going to go into the POP, so that one too, he can budget for it and be buying it bit by bit. And that's a really good thing that he's doing. For me, on my building project, I recently went to clear the land so that we can build a wall and complete the rest of the work which is ongoing. Now, when I did so, it immediately brought up something that I hadn't planned to do, and this was to buy blocks, because we are almost like in the rainy season. Nowadays it rains a lot, and the backhoe or excavator or whatever you call that machine, which came to clear the land and made it like a bit level, pushed all the sand and the stones that it carried, it pushed all to one side of the house. We want to fill that side of the house so that we can even build on top of it. And the way it's done, any small rain will bring all the sand and stones back down, and it's going to be a cost 90 job. Immediately, I need to go and buy blocks, cement, iron rods. In my mind, I was just going to clear the land. Then when I get money, I will continue the rest of the things. The point is, you need to be able to assess the outstanding activities that you are going to do at that stage where your money got finished. I know I need to buy about 20 bags of cement. Even if I budget a bag of cement for 100 cedis, that's 2,000. That takes us to 5,500. I've added transportation to the cement. That's why I'm budgeting it at that price. Then I know I need to buy iron rods as well because I need to do the wall. So I'll probably buy like 16 millimeters. If you watch our videos on the price of building materials on our main channel, I'm going to leave a link at the end of the video so that you can watch it if you are new to that channel. Then you know that 16 millimeters iron rod, a ton today is selling between 7,600 to 8,800. Some places are even selling it at about 11,000. The worst case scenario, even if I budget 9,000 cedis for a ton of iron rods, right now I'm hitting 14,500 Ghana cedis. For my wall, I need to buy stones, water, and then I need to consider the cost of labor. This is going to take me somewhere to almost 20,000 Ghana cedis. The prices of building materials have gone really high. I'm here to help you with alternative materials you can use instead of the standard ones and some tips to save money when building. The very first tip I want to share with you is cement. When it comes to buying cement, most people typically buy 42.5 R grade cement, either Gasem, Dangote, Supersem, Simaf, or whatever brand you have in your area, right? Now, do you know you don't always need to use 42.5 grade cement? It's a shocker, right? Well, you can actually use 32.5 R grade cement, but during which stage of the building process? If you are doing like plastering, like I'm doing right now, you don't necessarily need to buy 42.5 R grade cement. You can use 32.5 R grade, provided you trust the quality of the cement. It is fine for plastering, it's fine for doing your tile work and all that. Use locally made tiles. Now, I don't know which country you're watching from, but in Ghana, we have the imported tiles and the locally made tiles. When you look at it on the surface level, they are almost the same. If I did tiles here and I did tiles here, it will be very difficult for the ordinary viewer or bystander to see that this is the one which was imported or these are the locally made ones. If you want to do POP, I always advise don't do full POP. It's nice if you have the money, but then a lot of money is going to go into it. Alternatively, you can just put a POP along the edges or the four corners or four walls of your building, and then you just do some small designs, especially if they are the bedrooms where most visitors will not go. Put it around the four corners and they can paint the roof and it will look really good. Cut your own blocks, right? This may seem a bit difficult or too technical for most people, but if you buy cement and you buy all the materials you require, you can get the guys to come and cut the blocks for you, and you realize that you get more blocks if you cut it than if you went to buy the block. Assuming that you are now starting your building project and you need about 5,000 blocks. Today, a block is selling for about 7 Ghana cedis. That's 35,000 Ghana cedis. However, if you are going to cut your own blocks, you are going to use about maybe 20,000 Ghana cedis. If you want to do paint, then Graffiato paints are really good because they don't peel like the way normal paints peel. And apart from that, they also prevent dampness and they really have a good design with all the texture going on, and it's more modern, right? If you look at the long-term value you are getting from Graffiato, it makes more sense than painting where you are going to be painting like every 2 years and all that. If you have a partner, that's great because he or she may be able to help. Sometimes we carry the burden of building on our own, especially as men, because we feel that in Akan there's a saying which says it's a man who is able to face the heat of the fire. Do you understand? It doesn't have to be that way, especially if you are married and your wife is also working. You don't have to carry the whole burden of the building on yourself. Or if you have a fiancé and you guys are planning on getting married, or if you're a woman and you have a husband, he can also help, right? If you have a partner, it helps to divide the labor and you don't need to shoulder all the burden. If you don't have a partner who can assist you to share the burden of completing, for example, this 20,000 cedis cost I need to do, then you can consider going to buy items on credit. Now, it's not going to be that easy because it's not every merchant who is going to accept credit terms of payment. But then if you've been able to build your project to like roofing stage, it means you've worked with masons, you've worked with carpenters, you've probably worked with plumbers. If you're somebody who has like credibility and you've been dealing well with these people, you've been tipping them small, you've been treating them well, you've been relating well with them, and this is the time for you to also ask for some favors, right? And that's going to be based on the credibility and reputation of the contractor and his relationship with the merchants. And that's why it's a really good thing to work with contractors like us who have a range of merchants that we have worked with and we continue to work with to help you complete your building project in good time. Now, if you have some amount of money but it's not up to, let's say, I needed to buy 500 blocks, 5 inches solid blocks. That's going to cost 3,500, but I have just 2,000 cedis. You could also find a merchant who would agree for you to pay in installments. If you've been watching my channel, you know that when I was doing my roofing works, the cost of roofing was almost 40,000. What I did was I got into an agreement with the vendor and we agreed to pay in installments. And if you haven't watched that video, I'm going to leave a link in the description as well so that you take a look at it. We paid the first 10,000 for the woodwork and then we paid another 10,000 for the metal work. That was like half of the 40,000, and the rest, when they completed the work, we paid in installments, and that helped us to save a lot of money because the first time we went for the quote for the metal works, it was about 16,000. The next time we went, it was about 22,000 in just the space of 1 month. If we had delayed because we were waiting for the full sum, we could have gone again and it would have been like 30,000. You don't have to make downright or outright payments when you are building, right? Especially with your laborers, you can negotiate with them. Okay, you are doing this for this much, but I'll pay you in 5 months installments. Every month, I'll give you this amount instead of giving the laborer everything at once. Even if they've completed the work, you can choose to still pay them, but pay them in installments. You delay payments, not unduly, but it helps you to also manage the other parts of your finances. If you have other responsibilities, like you have a home, you have a family, you have rent, etc., it helps you. And even when you buy materials, especially if you are buying in bulk, like iron rods and cement and stuff like that, you can negotiate to pay in installments, and if the merchant agrees to that, hooray. This one, it's not like I don't have any money, give it to me, I'll pay next week or I'll pay at the end of the month. Please be somebody who is true to your word. When you promise a week, pay back during the week. If there's any reason why you cannot pay, then you need to let the contractor know as well, or the merchant know that, oh, maybe I've run into some unexpected scenario. But always try and be somebody who keeps your word, so that in future, if you need another favor, people can vouch for you, they can come in for you. Assuming you don't have a partner, assuming the merchant doesn't want to give you credit, assuming the merchant will not take installments, what you can do is to ask your friends or family. I know sometimes it's embarrassing, or sometimes you don't want to bother people, especially if you are like me. And there are only about 2 people I ask for money when I'm really in need. Like, I find it difficult asking people for money. If you have a supportive family and friend system, then you can ask for some money and make sure you pay back. Sometimes you can get a loan, right? Because if you look at the rate at which the building materials have increased, in the past 3 months, they've almost all doubled, right? Like 100% increase minimum. If you went for a loan and you were even paying 30%, it makes economic and financial sense. And I would encourage you, if you go for a loan, please be a man of your word. If you say you pay by the end of the year, or by the end of the month, or by the end of the week, make sure you pay. This TikTok influencer called Artisan made a very big mistake and lost over 300,000 Ghana cedis on her building project. We are going to look at all the reasons why she made this mistake and how you can avoid a similar situation, not lose your money, not lose your building project. Coming up next. Artisan is arguably the biggest TikTok influencer in Ghana with over 2 million followers, and she had a friend who suggested to her that since she's making money off of TikTok, which she started in like 2020 and became a huge celebrity, why won't she put some money into a building project? Which is a good idea, especially in today's Ghana economy, where most investment houses are suffering because they've purchased government of Ghana bonds and they are unable to pay back the customers, and people are losing money because of buying government of Ghana bonds. Building is a really good investment. But she made a very critical mistake. Make sure to stick to the end of this video so that we show you how you can avoid such a similar mistake. Alright, now the very first mistake she made was that she trusted her friend too much. Now, when it comes to building houses, there's a Latin word, or there's a Latin phrase called caveat emptor, which means buyer beware. What that basically means is that the due diligence, or the person who has to put in a lot of effort, is the person buying the land, not the person selling it. Even if you go to court, caveat emptor is there. You need to make sure that you do your due diligence when buying, when building. She trusted her friend too much and just gave up everything to her friend without doing the necessary checks, the necessary once in a while supervision, once in a while driving to the land to go and see how the project is going. I want to tell you a bit about supervising your project and why it is so important to the building project. If you are investing a lot of your money and time and other resources into your building project, then it just makes sense for you to also invest your time to supervise the project. Now, the reason why I'm saying so is because many people just leave their masons and carpenters and other artisans to just do the work and give them the report. Oh, master, Mario, or I've finished, right? But when it comes to building, especially in Ghana, you need to make time to supervise. Now, I know supervising is painful. Like today is a Saturday. I have been at the site since morning. Like I came here at 9 a.m. and it's currently 3:30, right? And it's a time consuming process. And especially when your building project is kind of very far away, the place is far from where you regularly live. For example, I had to travel, let's say 10 kilometers to come here. I can understand why people are not so enthused about the process of supervising their projects. But if you don't want rework, you want to avoid rework and all these things, then I would highly recommend that you make time to check on your building project. Today, the plumbers are working. I had to come and see that they were cutting the walls at the right part, using the right pipes. Because sometimes you may pay for certain materials, but they will not buy that quantity, right? You need to be very, like enforce this kind of discipline. Because if they give you the bill of quantities, okay, we need 10 pipes, we need 2 bends, etc. You need to come and check if they bought the same quantities or they bought something else. If they say, oh, I'm buying 100 bags of cement, you need to come and check. For supervision, it's not just about the rework, but also because you're putting in a lot of your money, you need to make sure that whatever they say they are buying is what they are buying. Her friend will come and give her a report that, oh, you're doing a good job, you're doing a fantastic job, like this building project is going to be massive. No pictures, no videos, nothing. I can't believe it. And she gave over 300,000 Ghana cedis to her friend, and she was told that they will complete the building project in 1 year. Well, ladies and gentlemen, close to the 1 year period when she was supposed to have the building completed, she said she felt like, let me go and look at my beautiful building project which is going to be ready and start, thinking about how I'll do my interior decoration and all those things. She went to the building site and she was met with the shock of her life. There was literally no building. There was just some small structure there, but the way the friend had been describing the thing was, oh, we've done this, we've done tiles, we've done doors, we've done windows. Meanwhile, they had just done like one room, not the house, so they had done one room and tiled that one room and was calling it the house and had collected 300,000 Ghana cedis. What are the lessons we can learn from here? The first point is, if for example you are in the diaspora and you can't be coming to check your building project all the time, obviously you can't, right? Then you need to get a family member that you trust or a friend that you trust to go and be looking at the building project. And when they go, what are the things that they need to come back to you with so that you can see for yourself the progress of the building project? 1, photos, 2, videos, 3, drone footage. And if they can't, well, we at Africa Building Hub, if your project is in and around Accra, would be delighted to help you check up on the progress, supervise the project for you, ensure that you are avoiding rework and the people are using the quality materials and all. If you're interested, send us an email. Our email is in the description below. Now make sure that you are getting drone footage so that you are seeing from the top view, you are seeing the surrounding areas, you are seeing that they are using the right space on the land and everything. You are even seeing whether it is your land that they are sending to you or not. It's really important. Make sure they go around the building, take videos, take pictures, go to the rooms. If it's tiling, you want videos of it. If it's the roofing, you want videos of it. If it's doors installation, you need videos. So pictures alone will not do. You need pictures, videos, drone footage of all the essential parts and phases of your building project. Else, last you get disappointed. The next part is you need to make sure that you have people of integrity to be, like your contractors or supervising your building project to avoid some of these mistakes. And we at Africa Building Hub believe we have that kind of integrity to help you supervise your building project, to monitor your workers, and to ensure that the right thing is being done. Now, the reason why supervision is really, really important and like the most important part of the building project is that if you fail to supervise your project, sometimes the artisans, the laborers who are working on your project can have like an idea of what they want to do, but it may not necessarily be what you, the builder who is paying them, wants to do. I can give you a practical example. In my case, I wanted a full roof, but when I went, the guys had already started doing, the hidden secret roof kind of thing. And I said, no guys, this is not the plan. I've discussed it with you. And it looks like they had forgotten. They just went on site and started putting the block. Okay, 5 year, 5 year, 5 5 year for the secret roofing, or 5 year, 3 year, and I said no. And so they needed to now remove some of the blocks, leading to rework and all those things. So supervision is really, really key. If you don't supervise, they are going to mix the wrong quantities of sand, cement, stones for your concrete, and your building project is a very expensive initiative or investment that you are making, right? And so you need to make sure that you are putting every measure in place that it goes well the first time around. Maybe you are in the diaspora, you are not physically available. If you are not, you can also employ us. We would supervise your project for you. That's one of the services we want to offer. But supervision is key, especially if you are around and you can go and supervise the project. Because if you don't supervise, the tendency to have rework is very high. Sometimes the laborers, you tell them, oh, I want to do like a proper roof. I don't want to do a hidden roof. They, in their mind, when you were talking, they were hearing hidden roof. Instead of doing like 4 layers of blocks, right? They are doing 5 here, 3 here, 3, and by the time you go, they've done some mess and they'll have to remove some of the blocks. I experienced it personally. Other people have experienced different kinds of rework. Maybe he said, put this door here, put this window here, put this here, do this design. You come, they are doing something else because there's no supervision. If you are starting your building project, you're probably asking yourself, how do I cope? Will I be able to complete my project? I'm going to give you tips to help you save money when you are building. Let's get started. The first tip is to make sure you always compare prices. Always ensure that you compare merchants before you make any purchase, especially if you have like a contractor who is building for you, right? And he comes to you and he says, oh, the cost of doors, maybe 1.5 security door is 4,200. Make sure you also compare, right? And do your own research, because he might have added his own profits or whatever margins to it. So whether it's the building materials you are buying, blocks, sand, stones, wood, etc., don't just go to one vendor and purchase from the person. Even if it's tiles, anything, lighting, equipment, plumbing, etc. Make sure you compare prices with at least 3, 4, 5 vendors. Always make sure to compare. Comparison doesn't just depend on the materials you are purchasing. Even the laborers that you are going to use, the artisans, make sure you compare quotes from different artisans, whether it's masons, what is their price for laying a single block. If it's tilers, how much do they charge per square meter? Always compare, and it helps you to make an informed decision. Next, when it comes to purchasing of tiles, purchasing of electrical wires and gadgets, always ensure to look out for merchants or shops which are having discount sales. A lot of the merchants in Ghana, and I believe wherever you are, tend to have discount sales towards major holiday events and seasons, and also in the middle of the year when it's a bit slow down. Always ask for discounts, at least of right of the point of comparing, because if you went to merchant 1 and the cost of doors was 5,000, merchant 2 and the cost of doors was maybe 4,800, and merchant 3, the same door, same quality, was 3,000, then you can actually go to merchant 1 and say, hey guy, I saw this, maybe you should try reducing your price and stuff like that, based on maybe merchant 1 is closer to you than merchant 3, etc. But at least having knowledge helps you to negotiate for discount. Don't just buy anything that you are given, especially if you are new to the locality. Negotiate, let your bargaining skills be top notch, else you would be cheated a lot. Be on the lookout for such amazing discounts online or near the shops. Have some contacts that you can call and find out when the next promotion is going to be, and buy all your items during the promotion period. Once you have ascertained that the promotion, what you are getting is real value for money, just go ahead and buy, and you would save money. Take advantage of promotions. A lot of merchants like tiles and the people who do bathroom sets and decor and stuff like that have promotions. Now, if you're building like in a developing area, a place where construction is heavily ongoing, right? People are building, you are also building. What you can do sometimes is to reuse some of the materials, or sometimes there are even leftover materials that you can purchase for less. For example, when I was building, my neighbor had stones and had sand that was left over from the wall that they were building. I spoke with my neighbor and she was able to give it to me at a very heavily discounted price because she was not going to use it anymore. I paid just a token for the stones and the sand, which I would have gone to pay huge amounts of money for. Sometimes blocks get left over, sometimes wood, right? The wood that they use for the door frames and the window frames, the boards, the Odum boards and the Wawa boards that they use for the lintel and they use for the pillars and all those. if they finish using it. The next tip for saving funds when building is to ensure that you negotiate well with your laborers, because 90% of the cost in building doesn't come from the materials you are going to purchase. 90% of them, maybe 90 is an exaggeration, but a good percentage of it comes from the labor cost. My goodness. If you are having masons who are doing the block work, right? If they are laying about 2,000 blocks, some masons charge about 2 Ghana cedis per block. That's about 4,000 Ghana cedis. You need to negotiate well with your laborers, because if they decide to come by day, you know, there are two main ways that you can pay your laborers is man hours, right? They come for 4 hours in a day. An hour is this much, or a day is this much. Now people will tell you that a mason costs 100 Ghana cedis and a laborer costs maybe 50 or 80 cedis. Others might tell you, more seasoned, you know, construction workers will tell you that a mason will cost maybe 150 cedis or even 200 cedis, and a laborer will cost you 100 Ghana cedis. You need to negotiate well and find out which of the options is better. Many of us, there are things that we can do. My good friend Ishmael Lamte is somebody I admire so much. He does a lot of things himself. He did his solar, his net installation. There are small things that you can do yourself. There's not everything that you need to go and get somebody to do for you. If you can, do it yourself and save money on the cost of labor. Really important. Now the next tip is to check whether what you want to purchase, do you need it now? Because there are different stages of the building project. We have the foundation, we have the block work, we have the lintel, we have the roofing and all those. If let's say you have done the block work, do you need to do tiles immediately? No. If you don't need it immediately, other material prices are going up, right? Do you need to buy the lighting immediately? If you don't, you can wait till you have completed the block work, because the roof is like one of the things you really need to prevent rains from coming in, breaking your walls, and causing you so much damage. The roof is one of the most critical things that you need, or stages that you need. If you haven't done the roof, maybe you did the floor, you did the first story, like the ground floor, and you wanted to continue. But before you continued with the first floor, you decided that, oh, let me tile the inside of the ground floor so it will be nice when my friends come, they will see. Let me paint, let me do sliding windows, let me do this, let me put the doors. Sometimes some of these things are not necessary at that particular stage. Buy in bulk, right? Sometimes the laborers might tell you, for this level or this stage, we need maybe 2,000 pieces of blocks, right? And don't just buy 2,000, maybe buy 2,100 or 2,200. I've experienced it several times, and many others have experienced it, because when you're going to buy those 2,000 pieces of blocks, they're going to be transported from the block factory to your construction site, and you are going to pay for the transportation. And if it's not enough to be able to complete that phase, and you need an extra 100, you're going to pay almost the same amount for transportation of 100 pieces of blocks as you paid for your 1,000 or 2,000 pieces. You understand, right? And always buy a bit more. Cement can last you up to 3 months, sometimes even 4 months, depending on how you store it. The price of cement has been going up almost every week or every other week. If you buy cement, you can use it to cut blocks. I'd advise buy a lot of cement, cut a lot of blocks, maybe 2,000, 3,000, 5,000 blocks, and the blocks will last you a year or two. You'll be able to save money. You don't care if cement prices increase or not. Also, you can buy iron rods and blocks in bulk, right? Iron rods are not going to expire if you keep them well. They are not going to rust if you keep them well. Similarly, blocks as well. Make sure to buy in bulk, and it's really good, especially the rate at which our inflation prices are going up. Let's say you bought a block at 4.5 Ghana cedis and it took them a month to complete. The next time you're going to buy, the block might be 5 Ghana cedis. Cement, like every 2 weeks, the price of cement either goes up or down. Some of these things, just try and buy a bit more, because the laborers sometimes tend to underestimate, and when it happens like that, you're going to waste money on transportation. Ensure you start building today. The best time to build was yesterday, but if you haven't started, the best time to build is now. If you are waiting because, oh, the dollar rate is high, the dollar rate is not going to go back to 5 or 2. It's probably going to go to 20 by the end of the year. We don't know what happened. Start now and start building, right? And I'm here. Everybody is here. The community is here to support and encourage you, give you the tips, give you the prices of materials. Don't give up. I'm encouraging you, just build, right? Start now, start something, and in a year or two you'll see that you've put up a very beautiful project of your own. Start now. Put all the excuses and procrastination reasons, put it aside and start something. Don't take the easy route. Many a times your laborers will tell you, oh, this piece of work, ideally we should use 10 bags of cement, but we can manage and use 5 bags. Please, 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 don't take the easy route. Oh, this one we can use 16mm iron rod. The ideal situation is to use 16mm iron rod, but let's use the 8mm because the 16mm is expensive. The laborers tend to give these kind of excuses. Please, building is a very expensive investment. Don't take the easy route. Don't take the shortcut. Give it the best. Plan, save, and build quickly. The Bible talks about a certain man who wanted to build and he didn't count the cost of the building. He reached a certain point and he couldn't continue. When you are going to build, you need to plan. You need to have people who are experienced like myself and others to guide you, to mentor you and all those. And we have a lot of videos that you can watch in our playlist that will show you tips on saving money. Will show you the latest prices of building materials. If you're new to the channel, kindly consider subscribing and turning on all notifications so that when we release such insightful videos, you don't miss